Hey there, rock and roll podcast fans. This is Mike Hoban. Welcome to Rat Tales, the podcast that brings you the music and stories of the Boston rock scene that grew out of the mid-'70s at the Rat and some of the other hellhole joints, each with their own sick charm.
Well, I had been in a succession of bands in Worcester, starting from when I was 12, 13, and that was in the mid-'60s. But by the I was playing in some pretty good bands in Worcester, Mass, where I'm from, and I went to the Rat when they were making the benefit for what would become the Live at the Rat album. I had heard about it, I don't know, it was probably sometime in '77. There was a lot of good bands. Every band that was on that record, I saw that day, but there was two bands that I loved, and it was Real Kids was one of them, and DMZ I flipped over. So for the next year, when I wasn't playing on a weekend or whatever, and there was a good show at the Rat, I would always go with someone. And I had heard through the grapevine that in June of '78, that the lead guitar player for DMZ was leaving the band. And I knew, I was very determined, kind of shy, but very determined to at least get an audition. So I didn't know what, I didn't know what to do, but the Ramones were playing at the Paradise. It was in late June, and I hatched some scheme to go there, and hopefully I brought this guy with me that he had a lot of this illicit white substance that was pretty popular back then and could open a few doors for me. This poor guy could barely speak English. He was Greek, and he was a huge fan of mine, and he would do anything for me. So I said, I don't know, spread some of this stuff around, see what you can do. So somehow he got through to the manager of DMZ. His name was Dez, and I got an audition for like the next day or the next coming week or whatever. And I went, I auditioned, they hired me right on the spot. Me and JJ kind of clicked, and that was it. Very talented person. Knows what he wants to do, and I don't think he liked me too much, but it's a long time ago, and it was a great experience. They were all great. Everyone was great. Even Jeff was great. Everyone was great. It was just a great experience. I mean, I was playing to 100 people every weekend, and these like stupid punk scene that they had. I was like the only good band in the whole city of Worcester. I know my first gig was with Rick Derringer at the Paradise. After that, we opened up for the Stranglers at the Intermedia Theater in New York the very week after that. I was in the band like a week, and I was already playing at this huge shows at Max's Kansas City. Great. Yeah, we played a lot every Thursday to Sunday for like the next 5 months until I quit the band. Then a lot of different places, a lot at the Rat. We used to do like these Thursday to Sunday shows, and so it was like 4 nights in a row. It was great, you know. Played everywhere. The club. It wasn't everything I thought it would be, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. No, I don't think so. I just played what Jeff told me to play. That's the way it works in that group. And I was fine with it. He told me almost every note. He told me exactly what to do. And I made sure the solos were real simple because I knew that's what they wanted. And no diddly, you know. I knew my place. 5 months. It did run its course for me. Some bands you're in for 20 years. Some bands run their course when they do. As short as a month, you can just tell. quit. JJ quit with me when I quit. So we ended up doing the odds. We had a bunch of names, but it ended up being the odds after a while. We did that for about 9 years. Then I was in the Superphonics. That was a Boston band. Then I joined the Time Beings in '89, which I'm still in. And then sometime in the late 90s, I started the real love of my life, the Preston Wayne 4, which I do almost every weekend, and it's still great. I write it, I play it. There's no vocals. It's all me. He was great. He was just a great, I don't know, there was something about, we really liked each other. Really interesting, knowledgeable guy, just fun to hang out with. You know, like everyone, he had his quirks, like, everyone's a little weird in some way or another, just like I am, but something about us clicked. I mean, to this day, I consider us to be very, very close friends, like brothers almost. Oh, they even mixed in little kids. You know, man, they're the real kids. If they have to ask, you don't understand. Still to this day, that's like one of the best bands ever. You know, Howie on drums, Alpo. I mean, they were in their day, in the heyday. You know, they were it, man. They were just like. It was like DMZ and the Real Kids were like the Beatles and the Stones, and that whole. To me, everyone else was kind of, monkeys or something. But there's always going to be a lot of mediocre bands, you know. There's always going to be a few great bands. There's always going to be a real lot of mediocre bands, and it's still that way now. And I've always been in the great bands. The Red Star, that's really captured them. Historic. To this day, it still stands the test of time to this day. It still sounds great. You know, Johnny Thunders didn't sound like Television. No one sounded quite like Blondie. The Ramones sounded different. And it was a lot of, it wasn't just like 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. It was a unique scene, and it was for some artsy type bands. And it was great. You had all these colorful characters hanging around this pregnant woman with it. It was, a lot of crazy characters. It was just it's the best of times and it was the worst of times to me. I'm not going to lie, everything wasn't always great, but it was a great time. I just remember it was just a blast. It was just great. Every night of the week, there was something going on. And there was always someone like, I remember when I used to go to the Rat before I got into DMZ, every time the Dictators, the Jam, the Ramones, the Runaways, there was always someone good to see there. I think it kind of changed later on, but I didn't really go there much after, moves, but it was just great. It had its own smell, and the floor was all sticky, and had all these characters that you could count on seeing, and it was very, very exciting time for music. In the fountains there, I used to watching on people down the stairs, just for the hell of it. Had to watch yourself going on there. What was it good? What was it this time? You could get away with anything went. It was just, when you compare it to like today, it was just a different time. And if you were there, you know what I'm talking about, Oh, I don't know. Everything is regimented, and I thought I might try on. The music sucked a lot, and when Holiday, and my music's awesome.
wrestling stuff in the thread. I was still pretty sick of money. If you were there, you go. Yeah, I wouldn't know how else to say it.
It was friendly. It was friendly for the most part.
It was happy. I loved it there. Loved it there. That was a great place.
It was just awesome, man. It was like, it was just little, it was just a little, it reminded me of a lot of places I played in Worcester. A little dark. You know, I remember like the first time I went there, like, I was with some band and we didn't have
And full of fun. They took me upstairs and Alpo was living up there. And I said, I'm like, what side of it, somehow? And I played you that. I mean, many were in some of the listen, but into it. The thoughts just to pulls the town in, you know.
I mean, we played this show at the, what was it, the Smash School of Art, or we played with a band called The Moving Parts, who later turned out to be the Mission on Burma. But there was this, like right in front of me, they just closed a lesbo scene going on. I'm just standing there looking down, and there's this pregnant girl like squirting milk all over the other girl, and
Yes, that's not out.
I was telling you before, I never seen anything like that. That's one thing, and
And the picture just thing.
fights, a lot of nude people throwing and tearing their clothes off, a lot of really shit throwing, the usual. You're there now. A lot of nice looking chicks, though. Always, that scene always had a lot of good looking girls. It was a good time to be young and in a band, in a good band.
Yeah.
Yeah, I formed the odds with JJ, and we stayed together for about 9 years. We did pretty good. We did all, his tastes are all over the place. We were from rockabilly to like real roots rock. We kind of ended up in this like garage thing, like perfume Latin infused stuff, ska. We experimented. We were all over the place with that band. We explored many different styles. We ended up, Jay really, I ended up talking him into doing a bunch of blues stuff later on that I wanted to name.
What's that even sound cool?
I've always been a very accomplished guitar player, and just give me the material and I'll just make it great. And that's what I do. I like I don't know, Barry Melton from Country Joe and the Fish, Hendrix, early Beach Boys, well, that'd probably be done but God, man, there's a million of them. I can't just pin down a few. I just I never learned how to read music or anything. I got a guitar when I was 12, and I just sat down in my basement one day when I was just playing baseball outside, and all I knew how to do was tune the guitar, and I had a book that taught you how you become cool. And I just figured everything out on my own, just by fooling with the guitar literally after me. It took a few years, but probably by, so I still allows it, but maybe by 17, 18, I'll still be standpoint software ready. Okay. And I was just influenced by stuff that I liked, you know? You know how it is when you're young, like every week you hear something new. That's the greatest thing I've ever heard. I mean, all those in old memory, man. I saw Hendrix when I was 14. At Clark University, I had to sneak in. I walked through the woods. That kind of changed my life after that.
That's one turning point. But I like Barry Mellon from Country Joe and the Fish. That first record they did, I thought he was incredible. He influenced me for a while. Of course, Clapton, Deck and Payne, all the other stuff. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Remains, Ramaz. My family used to go to Nantasket Beach and Harald Ford on the weekends, and I remember standing outside the surf club, listening to the Rock and Ramblings when I was about 11. Good. Really good. I remember. Man, what's that? We're just in awesome boring. Awesome been in. I know they're on Ed Sullivan, which is pretty cool. And I remember my father making fun of it then. The Remains. What kind of name is that? But I said, these guys are from here, man. These guys are from Boston. Yeah. Man. I heard the loss later on. And I'm for you there. They played in Worcester at a battle of the... No, they played that and then it's nerd with the... I think they opened up for either the Beach Boys. I was too young to war. And I found out about it way later. But I think the first band I saw when I went to the Rat was Willie Loco for that benefit. He was a character. Yeah, I was aware of them. I love that Roadrunner. Yeah, I like them. Oh, yeah. He's a character. It's funny, I just saw, what's that movie? What About Mary? Or something about Mary. And he said on the side player. Yeah, he's an original, that's for sure. But, everyone was covering that song. Roadrunner or whatever it was called, going down 128, listening to the radio. I remember everyone coming to that song. And I probably heard a cover of it before I even knew who it was by. Instrumental band, Hot Rod Surf, Hendrix meets Dick Dale. You have to see it. It's hard to explain. A lot of feedback, a lot of controlled feedback. Mainly it's like a real surf band going off the tracks, ready to crash and burn, but we don't. Sometimes there's 4 of us, sometimes there's 3 of us. Yeah. Lately I've been doing into the trio, just towards the sound of one more another foot. You'll either get 4 or 3, I don't know, right? I'm always experimenting with it. I just wanted to get up on stage and play the guitar and be in a band, like now. And it was I was 24 years old. I didn't really think about it. I just did it. I was just happy to be doing it and being in such a great band, That's all I can say. There's always a downside to everything. Everything that's good always has a downside. Just normal everyday hassles, people not getting along and stuff like that. Good. I guess it came out right about when I was joining the band. And I liked it. It wasn't kind of a funny mix, but I understood it. I liked it. And a lot of this, when I first joined the band, we were doing like almost every song in that record, so I had to listen to it. And it was good. It's good. I had nothing to do with it. It was before I was in the band, but Jeff's voice is like, oh my God, that guy's a genius. There's no one like him. That's all. And very genius stories. Any
Time beings I've been in for over 20 years. It's just a joy to play with those guys. It's just a fun thing. We've probably done 500 or 600 songs in the, in our repertoire at this point. We don't play a lot. We probably play once a month. And everyone's older now, but it's a great band. We've been around for many years, and hopefully coming to a town near you soon. Hey, Dave Roller.
Yeah. Nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he moved away like 10 years ago, and we replaced him. We've had a few different guitar players since him. But he was an original member. He was the best man at my wedding at the time. He was a great guy. Really cool guy. Yeah. And he rose up in the Strawberries, in the chain of command. I think he was one of the bosses or something. I don't know. I think that's why he moved away, actually.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I remember that you ever used that band.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you any gigs up with that? Or?
They just tell me they pick me up, they tell me when we're playing. I'm sure there's stuff coming up, and I'm sure it's on my calendar at home, but I can't say anything off the top of my head right now. But look for us, the Preston Wayne 4 and the Time Beings.
Thanks for listening to Rat Tales, Boston Rock Stories. Rat Tales is produced and directed by Lenny, Scolletta, and Mike Hoban, with a huge thanks to Medford Community Media in beautiful downtown Medford, Massachusetts.